Hi friends, this is Selvajan here. Welcome to my networking channel. Hope all are doing good. And today the topic I am going to discuss about how to establish EBGP neighbor relationship using IPv6 in Fortigate firewall. So here I connected two Fortigate firewall for firewall 1 and 2 by a physical port 1. So firewall 1 will be in autonomous system number 1 and another firewall is in autonomous system number 2, and I am going to establish a EBGP neighbor relationship. So EBGP is BGP between different neighbors in a different autonomous system. Okay. So what I'm going to do, the first and foremost thing, I am going to configure the directly connected interface with the IP version 6 address. Then I will be configuring the BGP neighbor relationship on firewall 1 and 2. Okay, so let us go to the firewall 1 and let us configure the interface first. So the command is config system interface and the port is port 1. Then we have to configure the IP version 6, right? Config IP version 6. Then we have to set the address. What is the first address is 2001:111:1. Okay. Set IP6 address 2001:1111:1. Okay. /64. Then we have to allow the ping access. Set IP6 allow access ping. Then let us save the configuration. So for viewing the configuration, the command is show system interface. So for the configuring interface, it is config system interface. For viewing, it is show system interface and the corresponding port 1, right? So it will show the current configuration. Similarly, let us go to the second firewall and let us configure the directly connected interface with this IP version 6 address. So config system interface, edit port 1, then let us configure the IP version 6, set IP6 address. What's the command thing is 2001:111:2. Okay, so 2001:111:2/64. Then let us allow the ping access. Okay, set IP6 allow access ping. This is for enabling the ping communication. Now let us save the configuration and now let us ping the remote interface from each of the firewall 1 and 2. Okay, so execute. Ping is for ping in the IP version 4. For IP version 6 it is ping 6. Okay, so the remote interface is :2. So I'm able to ping, and also let us jump to the second firewall. So execute ping 6 followed by the remote interface, that is 1, right? So I'm able to ping both the firewall 1 and 2 and the corresponding remote interface. So now let us go ahead and configure the EBGP neighbor relationship. So the command is config router BGP. So in case Cisco will do router BGP, the autonomous system. So here it is config router BGP in case of a Fortigate firewall. So config router BGP, then we have to set the router ID. So here I'm going to set the router ID as 1.1.1.1, and what is a local autonomous system is 1. Here, right? So local is 1 and the remote is 2. Now let us set the neighbor. So config neighbor, then you have to go do the edit statement. Edit this corresponding neighbor. So 2001:1111:2. Then we have to set the remote autonomous system number is 2. Okay. So now let us save the configuration. So that's all about the BGP neighbor statement. So how to view the configuration, show router BGP. So now you can see here. So the command is simple: config router BGP, set the autonomous system and the router ID. Then we have to configure the neighbor. Then the neighbor autonomous system is 2, right? So similar way, let us go to the second firewall. So go to config router BGP. Local autonomous system is 2, remote is 1. Okay, set the local autonomous system is 2 and set the router ID is 2.2.2, and then we have to configure the neighbor. So let us go to the neighbor statement. What's the neighbor is 2001:1111:1. That is a neighbor from this perspective, right? Firewall 2, this is a neighbor, right? So that's the thing I'm doing. Edit means it will automatically, this neighbor statement will be added. Then we have to set the remote autonomous system. Okay, so the remote autonomous system is 1. Okay, then let us save the configuration. So we are done with the interface and the BGP configuration. So now let us execute to check the BGP summary. In Cisco will do show BGP summary. Here the statement is get router info 6. Since it is IP version 6, it is info 6 BGP summary. So you're able to see it's already been established. And also let us check from the firewall 2 also. So the firewall 2 also, it has already been established. You are able to see it is showing us up and the corresponding statement, right? So how we can view also, get router info6 BGP neighbor. So you're able to see, right, local AS neighbor and the local AS is 1 and the remote AS 2. BGP state is established and up for this seconds, right? So similar way for the second firewall, get router info6 BGP neighbors, and you are able to see the BGP state is established and it is up. So this is how we can configure the BGP neighbor relationship. Another statement is get router info6 BGP network. So here it is not showing anything is because I have not advertised any prefix. If I want to advertise this directly connected network, so or if you have multiple networks, you can advertise via prefix statement. So let us see how we can configure the prefixes. So go to config router BGP, okay. So then config network 6, not network for IP version 4, network 6 is for IP version 6. Now I have to add a statement, I have to add the entry. So edit 1, then the entry is added, right, first entry, then we have to set the prefix. Set prefix 6 followed by the prefix. So 2001:111::/64. So now the prefix is added. Okay, so now let us save the configuration, and in the second file also let us advertise the prefix. Okay, so go to config router BGP, then config network 6 is for IP version 6, then set the prefix. Go to edit 1. So that is for making the first entry, then add a prefix. Set prefix 6. So for both this particular router, the prefix should be the same, right? 2001, it is in the same network. Both the interface should be in the same network. So I'm advertising the prefix 111::/64. So now the prefix is added. So now let us view the configuration. You can see the total configuration. So first statement is autonomous system number 2, remote AS is 1. This is from the second firewall. Then we have configured the network and then we have advertised the prefix. So for viewing the network thing, what is the command is get router info6, okay, BGP network. Infosys BGP network. So now you can see the network prefix, right? So it is advertised and the prefix you are able to see in the statement. Similarly, go here. So get router info6 for IP version 6 BGP network. You are able to see here, right? So what is the next hop and what is the metric and the local preference? So the default local preference is 100 and the default weight is 32768 and the path it is showing I, right? So we have not added any extra path, right? So this is how we can configure the EBGP version using the IP version 6. So EBGP is nothing but BGP running between two different neighbors in a different autonomous system. So that is the purpose of EBGP. So what are things we have done is first we have configured the directly connected interfaces, then we have configured the local and the remote autonomous system, then we have advertised the prefix. So for viewing the configuration, it is get router info6 BGP summary for viewing the neighbor summary, and for viewing the network it is get router info6 BGP network, right? So this is how you can configure the EBGP, and I hope you enjoy this video. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe for more videos. Thanks and have a wonderful day. Thank you.